Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here, Sunday the 9th of May. It's time. Right, back at the ranch. The ride was a bit shorter than I'd have liked, but then I realised that I hadn't put the rear number plate on. So my mission of mercy had to be aborted, because obviously it was a necessary journey to deliver some drugs to elderly parents. But first impressions and observations following the look around. Firstly, it rode really well, and the engine misfired a little while it was warming up, but after that it was fine. Clutch is lovely and light, seems to be working fine. Gears changing through cleanly all the way through. What electrics I did use, indicators, horn, etc., working okay. So overall, really impressed. And also the problem that we had on the first startup with this pipe yellowing hasn't got any worse at all, and hasn't yet begun on this side as well. So I think we've got the timing, and certainly we know we've got the jetting right. Obviously we haven't tested the motor at all yet, and it's going to get a lot hotter, but I'm pleased with that. No obvious oil leaks, but there is one problem, and I don't know if you noticed it, but when I took the cap off to put petrol in, you can see from the previous petrol the paint looks as though it's going to have a tendency to react. I don't mind it reacting there, that's fine, as long as that seals okay, we should be alright, but we're going to need to keep an eye on that. But as soon as we got home and stopped the motor on tick over, I had to rush around stripping stuff off, and I've drained the tank because of that. That might be a leak. Now if I raise the seat, it's not got any worse since I've been home, and in fact before I drained the tank it didn't get any worse either, but some petrol's got out there somewhere, and you can see it's dribbled down here slightly and affected the lacquer. Here the actual paint is lifted. So I've drained the tank, and I'll let the tank dry out, and then once this is dried and stabilised a bit, then we'll take this off and see what's under there. At first I was thinking that it might be one of the blind-ended stubs for these screws, but it can't be, because it's the other side of the seam, so I think that's the seam leaking. But then what I don't understand is why it didn't get any worse while I was faffing around trying to get containers, etc., and unscrewing petrol pipes to drain it. So anyway, we need to investigate that. But having said that, I'm not too unhappy with that, as long as that stays like that and we can find the cause and we can address it. Because other than that, I'm really chuffed with it. And I think I've had one drop of oil, and there seems to be a bit weeping out of the oil pressure warning light switch seal, so that's easy enough to fix. When I revved the motor slightly, it was a bit tappety on the right hand side, but now she's settled in anyway, we'll lift the rocker cover and we'll see if we can get another eighth of a turn on the head nuts, and then we'll reset the tappets. But other than that, really pleased. Ever so smooth, but then the crank has been dynamically balanced to get against the rods and the pistons that are in it. So dead chuffed. So there we are, everyone. We'll leave it there for now, and next stop will be for this is investigating that once everything's dried out. But coming up next probably will be then a next quick test on the Bandit. Now we've completed its recommissioning, so it's ready to roll. Right, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for interest, comments, and subscriptions, and see you all again soon. Cheers, bye bye.